It is a thing. What do you think? How is the current empire that we're currently living in, how is that different from the empire of the Roman Empire? Because we're living in a current empire that proclaims itself as the biggest, strongest, wealthiest, mightiest empire the world has ever seen. That's how the current empire describes itself. So exactly. So we never, the world hasn't really, we never went anywhere. So, but to yeah, pre-European. Yeah. So that is, yeah, that's something I know that is a question we can discuss in the next meeting, because that is in itself very, very uh, big question. So if you can go to, I know we almost time, but we can cover, if you know don't have anything to do, we can maybe use the next 5-10 minutes and at least do something here, um, unless you have to go somewhere. So you wanted to know, I already explained this, but maybe by reading it you can also understand more specifically what this thing is. So that served to reinforce the former. So the way they look at others, mostly in a negative light, serve to reinforce the way they look at themselves. For a clear, you understand? For example, I told you, maybe I already told you this story. A friend of mine, she was a younger 25-year-old from University of Berkeley, many years in 2008. Or 9, we were at a party in Berkeley, and you know Berkeley and the social movement, and the very progressive. So, and she was telling me how she really was mad at her grandfather, because the grandfather's wife treats him like a piece of garbage, like a nothing. And he is really an unhappy, grumpy grandfather and everything. But the only thing, because he hates Barack Obama with all his heart, the only thing that gave him hope to live and make him proud of himself was because he was not black. So he used to tell his granddaughter and grandchildren and his family that, I know my life is really crap and everything, nothing works, I'm really this and that, and even my wife treats me like a piece of shit. But the only thing that gives me peace of mind is at least I'm not black. Point blank, bluntly like this, to tell his family, at least I'm not black. I'm not like Obama. I'm not black. So, and the girl, white girl, she was very upset, mad, and when she was even sharing it with us. So that is a clear example of the European Asili and Otumaroho, which is the construction of these two chapters. One first shows you how the European constructed his own self-image to present himself as the rational man, as the man, as the scientific man, as the world savior, as the civilized man. So all of that good and positive. And then the next chapter now, how other people need to be civilized, need to be saved, need to be helped. So they now begin to rationalize, to find a moral ground to justify their oppression. And then say, see, we do that to those primitive people not because we're not civilized, but because we want to help them. So because they're pretty much negative, they're primitive. So the way they look at others reinforces the way they look at themselves. It's because we're good people. We have all this knowledge and civilization, but we don't want to keep it for ourselves. So we have the divine mission to go there and help those primitive people to become like us. Therefore, we feel good about ourselves. So you see, so that's what this thing is about. And then through the dialectic of value dichotomy. So from the general behavior literature, okay, general, just the way the European behave, and their literature that they feed our students in school and colleges and universities, and other cultural expression, like in movies and everything, the way Europeans express themselves, there emerges a consistent autobiographical statement of how they envision themselves and what they want to be in relation to others. If you read the thing, if you watch the movie, if you anything that they do, even the art and everything, there's always a statement there about how Europeans view themselves and how in relation to others, how they view themselves as opposed to how they view others. Are we superior? Because we have these qualities. And that's what the Plato set together. So they first experimented that on their own people. They set themselves apart and now control their own society. And now using the Bible and other means, they decided to expand that. Now be one with their own people when they permeated their own idea among their own people through their education and literature, and all of them started growing and thinking that way, building now their city, the culture of the way of thinking, of being, and now it was pervasive in their culture. Then they decided to be like a monolith, a cultural ego, a cultural monolith, where all European now think one way. We're rational, we civilized, we advanced, we're modern, it became a we, because they assimilated that self-image that was developed by the Plato and all that. Now that collective ego, collective self, that pluralistic unity now goes on a mission to conquer primitive people and control them, take their riches, take everything, control them and have power over them, because they now think rationally and scientifically and in a civilized way. So others who are primitive need that. So they have the divine mission to go make them be like one of them. If you learn my ways, then you can resemble me. But you have to do what I want you to do and learn my ways. So I will teach you my ways. So in a way, that was sowing the seed of their own destruction. Because primitive people now are using that same knowledge to fight back and expose their silly, their ideology. That we see what you do, we know what you do, we understand what you do, we can see through you. And then through publication and everything. But it's not enough, because we're still under that system. We're still using the system to fight them. So how now do we use our unique system, not to fight anyone, but to uplift ourselves and say, no, yes, we learn from you, but we will learn from our own knowledge that has not really been, used properly to uplift ourselves in a way that you will also want to be like us. When Barack Obama was elected president, a lot of young white kids started telling their parents they wanted to be black. Mind was shifting. Perception of blackness was shifting. So and then when they be in relation to other, so by isolating the components, now these are the components. By isolating those components, you can now see through their silly, the European silly. See, by isolating the components of their self-image, we have found that the European cultural ego, first we isolate the component of self-image, and these are the components. Components are rational man, European man as a male, scientific man, civilized man, savior, reason. So all those are components of European self-image. And then we can look at their cultural ego when we isolate the components. So we have found that the European cultural ego is composed of elements traceable to the early and formulative stages of European culture. So all of these things can be traced back to the early formulation of their culture.